hiding away here. Here we go. Okay. Wanted to come to this park because I think it's an appropriate place in our state of Illinois to sign a very important law that deals with public safety and protecting all of us who live in our state of Illinois from the situation where guns get in the wrong hands. That happened in this park a little more than 3 years ago, late at night, with a stolen weapon that was used to murder a heroic person who will always be in our hearts, Officer Tom Wortham. And I thank his mom and dad for joining us here today. They have been in the vineyard since then, working on behalf of all of us to prevent violence and to make sure that we have appropriate gun safety in our state, that we need to have background checks to make sure that guns do not fall into the hands of the wrong people who are not entitled by law to have a gun. And also, if a gun is lost or stolen, that the owner reports that gun, that missing gun or that lost gun, immediately within 72 hours. That it's going to help our law enforcement. It's also going to help all of us be safe. And that's what we want everyone. We want boys, young guys playing basketball here, and these young children behind me who are on swing sets. Everybody should be safe. That's the fundamental order of any democracy, that we protect the people. And so today, this is one of the most important bills we'll sign in a very long time. And I thank all of those who made this day possible.
The Gun and Safety Responsibility Act is legislation the Illinois State Police has supported for several years. I think that it's safe to say that everyone up here, and everyone in the majority, I should say, of law enforcement in Illinois will welcome this additional measure of public safety initiatives by the governor and our elected officials. The Illinois State Police have a responsibility to enforce the law. We also have to reinforce the message that it is every legal gun owner's responsibility to ensure they are in compliance with the laws of Illinois when legally possessing a firearm. When legally possessing a firearm, all of us here know that it's very difficult to get guns, or very easy to get guns, and very difficult to keep guns out of the hands of those that shouldn't have them. The Guns and Safety Responsibility Act means taking responsibility and being accountable when it comes to selling or purchasing a firearm or reporting a firearm lost or stolen. This legislation makes perfect sense and will strengthen safety measures across the board for citizens and for the men and women protecting our communities. It makes my officers safer, and it makes our communities safer. And vitally important is the fact that this bill will help reduce the abuses of straw purchasers, unlicensed sellers, and illegal buyers. You know, as police officers, we see horrible violence in our communities almost every day. It's crazy, it's insane, and it has to stop. And even though this bill provides for a 72-hour window, the Illinois State Police encourages citizens to immediately report lost or stolen firearms to local law enforcement. This will increase the likelihood of recovery. And additionally, we encourage citizens to keep track of their firearm serial numbers. There should not be any delay in reporting a stolen or lost firearm. It also might reduce a person's liability if their firearm is used in a crime. When someone breaks into your home or your vehicle and steals a firearm, there is a very good likelihood they're going to do something illegal with that gun. They obviously can't obtain it through lawful means. And typically speaking, when people wake up on a Sunday or any day of the week and realize that their car has been stolen, they'll immediately call 911. And think about it. If citizens can report a stolen car to the police, then they should certainly have no problem reporting a lost or stolen firearm to police. And it's just that simple.
I have a 15-year-old teenage a 15-year-old son who plays basketball, and I have a schoolyard but a block away from my home. And here it is that I would travel all the way to Cole Park and to park district parks and schoolyards all over the city without fear of gun violence having to deter me from enjoying what I should and what I should have as a young man, and what my son and my daughter who's here with me should be able to enjoy is activities outside. Yet I'm fearful of allowing my son to walk 1 block away from my home because there have been a history of shootings on that very schoolyard park. The bill we passed, and I'd like to thank all of my colleagues for partaking in this work, and Colleen Daly in particular, who spent hours and hours in my office, and we negotiated all the way to the end of the session. This is one of the very last bills passed. There are a lot of people who say that universal background checks already existed in the state of Illinois. And while the federal government has failed at passing universal background checks because of the Republican leadership in the House, and I know Congressman Davis has been a strong advocate, what we did here today with the help of the governor is close a loophole. People said because there's background checks with FOID applications that we already had universal background checks. But the reality is FOID cards are issued for 10 years. And within those 10 years, people can commit felonies. They can be found incapable because of mental health reasons, and their FOID card gets revoked. But they may still have possession of their FOID card. And they could have a gun transferred to them without the seller knowing that the recipient cannot illegally possess a gun. And as the state's attorney spoke of with regards to lost and stolen, we're closing a loophole that can deter some of the gun traffickers from transferring guns to people we know will do harm with them. And so I want to thank the governor and all my colleagues and all the advocates who partook with me to pass this bill.